You can't see how it's ever going to be a sunny day when you're in the middle of a hurricane.
Sure.
But then, as we've also said on the show many times, the sun will eventually come out again.
Yes. Everything's temporary. Did you know that I have 3 really complicated relationships in my life?
With me, myself, and I?
Close. My relationship with money, my relationship with people, and my relationship with self. And they're all connected together because when my relationship with money got out of whack, it totally had an impact on those other relationships. That, my friend, is what we call having financial sobriety.
So who are you?
I'm Matthew Grishman. Who are you?
Jim Gebhardt.
And we're a couple of financial advisors trying to have an untraditional conversation about our favorite topic, money.
Let's go.
Hey, Tribe. Ace here. You know, last week when I was doing the editing for part 1 of the Mindset episode, there were some pieces that I took out. But upon further review, I think they would make a nice little bonus episode in between part 1 and part 2. A snackable, as Jim would say, if you will. So here's something to chew on about graduation that are some tips and tricks that Matthew shared with Jim as they were conversing toward the end of last week's episode. So enjoy this tasty little treat before we convene again with part 2 of Graduation and Mindset next week.
I mean, you and I have been gabbing into these mics for like 43 years now, and I'm not sure, even with the work we've done in relationship with self, which is really the crux of healing in this journey of financial sobriety, is starting there, right? If there's toxicity in life as a result of relationships we have with others or how we interact in our relationship with money and finance, where most of that gets healed, bottom line, is that relationship with self, right? Something's going on where there's a hole in your soul and it's not being fed, and we're projecting that into those other relationships, right? We've always said if one of those 3 fairly complex relationships gets a little out of whack, it's going to have a trickle over. It's going to affect the other relationship. It's going to project into them. So even with all of the work that we've done where we started back in 2005, I'm not sure I fully believed until my heart health issue and being forced to sit there and support myself and make the choice that I'm going to be okay. I'm going to get out of this and get back to being a contributing member of society. I want to live. Once I made my mind up that that was the case, this recognition started to set in. Like, whoa, wait a minute. I don't need my mommy and daddy anymore, right? Figuratively speaking, right? I don't need to be taken care of. And that's huge that this has happened for me that way.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that's graduation.
I like that. Very good. Yeah.
That's graduation. Because all the twists and turns, all the ups and downs, all the setbacks, right? As you were talking about the growth mindset and the progress and sliding back and everything, I had this.
What were you thinking about?
Well, I had a business opportunity for us.
Oh, nice.
I think we need to buy the rights to the board game Candyland and rebrand it Financial Sobriety.
Financial Sobriety Land?
Because every once in a while you start making progress up, and then
I roll a 7 and it hits the slide.
It hits the slide, and down you go.
All the way
right?
back to the bottom.
But your health journey and the power in that story of no one can understand the struggle that you went through, right? Everyone's health journey, particularly when they're up against the unthinkable,
Sure,
is their own journey.
Yes.
And yet your ability to be able to turn it around and see how this is happening for me. And as we said, you can't see it in the middle of the storm, right? You can't see how it's ever going to be a sunny day when you're in the middle of the hurricane.
Sure.
But then, as we've also said on the show many times, the sun will eventually come out again.
Yes. Everything's temporary.
And you have not just experienced that, you've lived it,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And while it may not be the most perfect sunny day, it is certainly sunny again in your life.
Yes.
And you can start to feel the warmth and the benefit of the sun.
Yeah, like a lovely Mother's Day in Syracuse.
Well, that would be great.
Yes.
The sun rarely was available on that day.
Relative to February, it was lovely.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about with
Yeah.
graduation. Whatever the evolution is for you, wherever you're stuck, right? It's identifying, okay, well, how can I flip this thing around? How can I turn this inside out and see how is this happening for me?
Right.
It's a powerful exercise.
Absolutely. And it's a hard exercise.
And in a culture where we want instantaneous answers, input, resolution,
yes.
as you are a testament, a living testament, it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
You have got to give yourself the patience and the grace and the time to let it evolve so you can see with the perspective of time how this is happening for you.
It takes a village sometimes.
Because, man, that I just, we can't say it enough times for where however somebody is stuck, whether
Yeah.
it's in their challenge with themselves and their challenge with their relationships with other people that they're close to and challenge with their relationship with money.
Absolutely. All right.
Right.
Tips and tricks time. Ready?
Ooh, yeah.
Because, despite this long journey we're in, I'm still a sucker for instant gratification. I love so for me to really buy into stuff, I got to get a little hit. I got to get a little, you got to prove it to me a tiny little bit that this is going to feel good. Like, just give me a taste, right? Give me a little snitch,
Sure.
right? A little taste.
Sure.
All right, ready? Here's a little taste. One of the greatest things you and I have discovered, and I don't know that you and I discovered this kind of like the way Columbus really, did he discover America? So I'm going to claim this the way Columbus claimed discovering America. You and I discovered this concept of getting unstuck a little bit right now, and we call it getting out of our own head by getting into somebody else's heart. I like to take credit for discovering that, but I know that we didn't invent that
somebody else
concept.
came up with that
Somebody
idea.
else came up with that. You and I
Yes.
have just absolutely grabbed onto it.
It's unbelievably powerful.
It's
It's how-
unbelievably powerful.
It's how I got through COVID.
Yes. If you're with us today and you're a little bit stuck, like Jim during COVID, me during my heart stuff, one of the things that helped me start making progress was just a little bit of time getting out of my own head by getting into somebody else's heart just for a couple of minutes.
Cool. How do you do that?
How are you today? How are you today? Jim,
Oh, are
how
you
are
a- oh, you're asking me.
How,
Okay.
How are you today?
Gotcha. That simple.
It's that simple, but you gotta mean it.
In person or in text or
It just for a minute. I need a break from my own shit in my own head. Let me call Jim and see what's going on with him. Let me reach out to somebody else and figure out what's going on with them.
yeah.
And
How does that feel when you do that?
when I can do it for a couple of minutes and I'm really curious about how you're doing and I'm really listening and really breathing in your gas, 5, 7, 8 minutes later, I feel so much better. Irregardless of what's going on in your life, whether you're on the top of cloud 9 or you're in the gates of hell. And all my job to do is to hold space and listen and connect with you. There's something in that process that just shakes me free of my own thoughts, my own worries, my own fears, my own stresses. I don't understand, like, scientifically how that happens.
I'm sure there's a
It
whole
just does.
biochemical cascade that happens with dopamine and all the other friends up there.
Absolutely. When I'm feeling really bad, that helps a lot. Tip and trick number 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is specific to busy brain, otherwise known as anxiety at times. You and I have experienced both sleepless nights where we wake up in the middle of the night, can't go back to bed because our brains are just spinning.
I don't know anybody like that.
Nobody.
We surround ourselves with people like that.
We attract them like magnets. Something our old friend Tim Adams taught me a long time ago.
Oh, I love this one. It is Greatest Hits Wednesday.
Something crazy happens when I take out that journal, like a handwritten piece of paper, not the phone, not the thumbing on the memo pad on the
Yeah.
phone or
Yeah.
the iPad Good Notes app,
Yeah.
but an actual pad of paper with a pen or a pencil. And I just start writing what's coming into my head, free flowing. As I'm thinking it, it's getting written. No spelling, no punctuation. I'm just ripping. And something happens after 5, 10, 15. The longest I've ever gone was 20 minutes. And then all of a sudden, my head was empty. Everything that was in my head seemed to transfer down my neck, through my shoulder, into this 28-inch bicep of mine, down my forearm, through my
Millimeters?
hand, and out onto the piece of paper.
Yeah.
And scientifically, I have no idea what happened, but the energy of what was in my head, the anxiety, the busy brain, transferred to the paper, and poof, it was gone. I slept like a baby, and it's been my tip or trick with busy brain ever since. It works every time.
If we're going to go back to the days of Tim Adams, then let's also bring out Dr. Joan Rosenberg.
Oh, I miss Joan.
I miss Joan too, who is one of the first psychologists that ever taught me the concept that, emotions come up. Emotions don't go down.
But I thought you don't do ups. You only do downs.
True. And in the context of what you're describing there, right, it's like, well, the emotions come up and they can all just
They stay.
only go to one place.
Yes.
Right? And when they come up all the way to the top, now they're in busy brain.
Yes.
And that is a wonderful exercise. It also, while you were telling that story, last week I was at that Financial Planning Association chapter meeting, and I got to stay at one of my favorite old grand hotels, a 100-plus-year-old Sheraton Palace in San Francisco. And one of my favorite things about hotels, and I don't know why I don't do this at home, is the pad of paper and the pen
Next
on
to
your
it.
nightstand.
Right.
I love that.
Uh-huh.
That's not for like planning my room service order, because I don't do that.
No.
But I need to do that at home.
And at home and in the hotel, you and I both sleep like shit whenever we go into a hotel, right?
Generally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the pad of paper's for.
I will have to rearrange the nightstand so that I can have a little pad of paper and a pencil right there.
This is awesome. Okay, so I want to push pause for a second because we've still got a lot more to talk about, and I think Ace is going to want to probably break this up into 2 episodes that
Not
kind of go
7?
back to back here. No, we're going to get this in 2, I think.
Oh.
We are. We're sitting here talking about graduation, reflection,
Tips and tricks.
greatest
hits
measuring
over
progress.
5 years of episodes.
Yeah, how we measure progress, and we just kind of talked a little bit about if you are a little stuck, whether you've been stuck for a while or you've been with us on the journey since the beginning and you're just in a little temporary stuckishness. This idea of getting out of your own head and getting into somebody else's heart. Here's my proposal, and this is what we'll continue with part 2 of the conversation. There is no greater or more important group of people that you can put some intention into this time of year, graduation season, than your children. If you want to get out of your own head and get into somebody else's heart right now, let's talk about how we can do that with our children. Whether or not you have a child being touched by graduation season,
Sure.
summer tends to be the checkout season,
Sure.
right? Whether the children are in school or not, it tends to be the time when we all kind of take our foot off the gas pedal, take it easy. Not that rest and recovery isn't a critical component to living a healthy life, but there are ways that we can check in with our children and keep the momentum going, the growth mindset going. This is the time to talk to our children about the concepts of financial sobriety. Whether your children are teeny tiny, whether your children are starting to have a little bit of their own autonomy, or whether your children are like our children where they're kind of grown and doing their own thing.
And even older.
And even older. Like
Us.
I am the child.
I was going to say.
Right?
Yeah.
And mom and dad, if you're listening, we have some opportunity for you to parent me this summer. So lots of opportunity no matter where your children are. In fact, some of what we will talk about are the different phases of parenting based on where your children are.
And with that,
That's a wrap. If you like what you heard, leave us a review and be sure to subscribe. And check out our website, yourfinancialsobriety.com. Thanks again for listening today. Here to help you find more clarity, confidence, and capability along your journey into financial sobriety. I'm Matthew Grishman.
and I'm Jim Gebhardt.
Be intentional with your money.
Jim Gebhardt is a registered representative of and securities offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Jim Gebhardt and Matthew Grishman are investment advisor representatives of Gebhardt Group Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, and Gebhardt Group Incorporated are not affiliated. The opinions in this podcast are for informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or investment recommendations. To determine which investments or financial advice may be appropriate for you, consult a financial advisor prior to investing. Any reference to market performance is based on historical information, and there is no expressed or implied guarantee of future performance. Opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect those of Brokers International Financial Services, LLC. The topics discussed and opinions given are not intended to address the specific needs of any listener. Gebhardt Group Incorporated does not offer legal or tax advice. Listeners are encouraged to discuss their financial needs with the appropriate professional regarding your individual circumstance.